Hi, I'm speaking with Allen Sherrod. He is one of the Atlantica crew members, one of our newest crew members, about to set a world's record. And it's a very unusual world record. And Allen, I'll just let you tell us what that's going to be.
Okay, yes. It's the duration record for staying underwater submerged for the longest period of time. Right now, the record stands at 120 hours.
Now, Allen, you're talking about submerged in scuba gear and not inside a habitat. Is that correct?
Not inside a habitat at all, and it has to be on scuba, on open circuit scuba, and you cannot have anything assisting you from the surface. Nothing at all. It has to be in an open water environment. It has to be in an environment that's not controlled by any means from the surface, or say a swimming pool type or a little bitty lake type. It has to be in a connecting to or part of a major river system or a major water body, and open to the elements: rain, lightning, thunder, alligators, whatever. Everything has to be open water, just as you would expect if you just walked out there for the first time. No other interaction at all.
So the record currently stands at 120 hours, and you're going to try to beat that.
I'm going to try to beat that, yes. I've made 2 attempts so far. Last year I went in, the first attempt was in early September, or middle of September, and I stayed for 63 hours because I was totally submerged. I picked up, I thought I would be really safe because I'm breathing really nice, clean air. But I developed flu symptoms, and some of my crew had the cold and flu, and I'd worked with them close the last couple of days. So I got underwater, started developing the flu, and had to stop. Got out, stayed out for 2 weeks, took a lot of antibiotics, a lot of natural medications, and went back in and stayed 111 hours.
111 hours. Now, how long is that in days?
That's 4 3/4 days almost. That's 9 hours shy of 120, which is exactly 5 days. But I was a little over 4.5 days underwater.
Wow. Let's talk about that for a minute. And well, before we do that, let me ask one more question. The record that you are going for next time, how long is that going to be?
I'm going to do this one for 120, the freshwater record. Then after this one, I'm going for the saltwater record, which is only 51 hours.
Wow. Okay, so now let me try to get the picture here. You're in scuba gear, and you're staying underwater for days. Obviously, the first thing that occurs to the average person is, how do you eat down there?
I train the mermaids at Wiki Watch. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I did the scuba certification for them, and I've watched that show for several years, and they drink underwater, they eat underwater, but instead of getting all the bacteria in my mouth for being such a long time, I drink through a camel pack, just like the marathon runners and bicycle racers use.
Yes.
That way I have a one-way valve. I don't contaminate the food or pick up a lot of bacteria to ingest into myself while I'm down.
So everything's liquid.
Everything is liquid. I have no solid food. I actually, before I start the dive, the week before, I go ahead and switch my whole weekly diet, regular diet, to a liquid diet, ensure different things. While I'm on the surface, I like V8 juice. When I'm underwater, I don't use the V8s because of the acid.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all liquid.
Okay, now, when you're underwater for such a long period of time, of course, the next thing that everybody's going to be asking is, how do you go to the bathroom?
Well, for number one, that's usually something a scuba diver does all the time. Every time they go underwater, there's 2 kinds of people. There's people that pee in their wetsuit, and there's people that lie about peeing in their wetsuit.
Allen, you are now revealing all of our scuba diving secrets.
Yes.
I'm not sure the general population is prepared for this. But okay, we got that picture, and everybody's probably good with that. But then there's the other part. What happens there?
Well, because I went to a liquid diet and I've prepared myself a week in advance, I haven't produced, even in the 111 hours, the last time I didn't produce any solid waste. So I don't know how long you could actually do that without doing that, because it's not very healthy. This is not the best way to do this, but it's the only way at this time I know how to.
I understand. Okay, well, the next question is, 120 hours on scuba underwater also would require a sleep period now and then. Do you actually sleep under there?
Oh yes, I sleep whenever I do the dive. During the daylight hours when I'm not sleeping, I have usually one safety diver. When I'm sleeping at night, I have two safety divers, and their whole job is to monitor my air supply and monitor my breathing. I just use a regular scuba regulator with a little bit larger than normal mouthpiece, and use the hood. So the hood helps to hold my jaw in place, and the oversized mouthpiece keeps it from slipping out of my mouth if I go into like a REM state of sleep.
And so what's it like sleeping under? How deep are you, by the way, during all of this?
I try to stay around 8 to 12 foot. That's usually the better temperature in the lake is between 8 and 12 foot. And I go down initially to 20 foot and stay for 20 minutes so that it is an actual scuba dive. Then the only other requirement is that I don't break the surface. But at 8 foot to 12 foot, I can stay safely and comfortably, not knowing that I'm too deep or that I may pop up for any reason. It gives me enough recovery depth that if I started to float away or something, I could recover quicker than if I was really, really shallow.
Yeah, now, so here you are. It's time to go to bed. The sun sets. It's dark under there. What's it like to sleep underwater like that? I'm assuming you get more than a few hours sleep at a time.
Oh yes, I usually use 80 cubic foot cylinders, and they last me whenever I'm not up doing anything 4 hours or longer.
Wow!
So I just go to sleep. It's nice and comfortable. It's not like there's a hard spot in the bed. I'm actually floating a little bit, just hovering above the bottom, and it's a very relaxed, comfortable sleep. The sleeping part is very easy. The waking part when you wake up, it's a little disconcerting because you're not laying on the couch or you're not laying in your bed. You have to wake up and realize within a second that you're underwater breathing off a regulator.
Uh-huh. So now let's try to get let everybody have a picture of where you are. You're in a lake, obviously. And how far are you away from the shore?
We're about 40 yards off of the shore. I have about 40 yards out in the lake.
So do you have like a platform that you're strapped to?
Yes, the first attempt I put a pontoon boat on the bottom so I'd have a nice flat deck surface to be on, and that way it keeps, it's an active lake. People come out and ride jet skis, ski, do lots of water activities, so it gets a little, it's not a current flowing through there, but when people are riding jet skis, you know how waves affect things, so that way I can keep everything close to me and nothing drifts off into the deeper areas where I can't see them anymore.
So do you have like a chair that you strap yourself to?
I didn't use a chair. The way I put the pontoon boat was I sunk it upside down, so the pontoon boats were on the top, and then I could just lay in between the pontoons, and when I slept, I didn't have to worry about drifting any direction other than down the pontoon. I had ends plugging over the ends where the pontoons are open at, so I had a nice little 2-foot deep hole that I could just lay in.
Well, now you're down there on the pontoon boat in the middle of the lake, and the first day goes by. Okay, we can all kind of just see you sitting there, but doesn't it get kind of boring after a while? To me, I really enjoy being under the water, so I entertain myself a lot. Plus, I had lots of visitors. There was people come from everywhere just to be part of it, to come down and see me. And
we'd pass notes back and forth. So I had quite a few visitors, and then I had lots of things to keep track of, making sure all my equipment was in order, making sure that my tanks were ready for tank changes. So I stayed pretty busy.
So when is your next attempt coming?
September the 11th of this year. So it's about 2 weeks away.
Wow. Are we invited to come down while you're on your mission and do a podcast from under the lake?
Oh, yes, most definitely. This year we're working on having a giant screen TV in the building adjacent to the lake so that you can come in and people that don't dive can come in and observe on the monitor. We'll have a camera in the water that's showing me and the support divers. You can walk into the dry and take a look and see what's going on down there. We're also hoping to have installed a microphone so you can actually talk to me in the water and listen from inside the building, or divers like yourself. You're more than welcome to come and join me on the platform and just do whatever you want. Have an interview, just hang out with me for a few hours. I enjoy the company.
Well, if we bring our own camel pack, maybe we can have lunch together.
That would be great to have lunch right there in the lake. That would be wonderful.
Well,
a lot easier.
The other question I have for you is, do you have like an underwater box with a DVD player in it where you can watch movies?
We're working on that right now. I was over at the computer shop. What we're trying to do this year that I didn't have last year is put a monitor in the water and the keyboard in the water. That way I can answer my emails and go on Facebook and do chats and everything. That way I don't miss out on anything during the week. That
would be much better than just sitting there twiddling your thumbs for 5 days with nothing to entertain you except the fish. But you told me a story before that you have a lot of fish friends down there. Can you enlighten us on that a little bit more?
Oh, yes. Well, you know that when they build artificial reefs in the ocean, as soon as they put something in the water, fish automatically attract to it.
Right.
Same holds true in freshwater. I was very surprised at the amount and how fast they would come, but as the first day went by, there were 30, 40 little fish down there, and as the week went on, they just began to be more and more, and they'd actually, at night when I would wake up and have nothing to do, I would swim around the outside of the boat and shine the light up in little holes, and they would be sleeping in there. So they established that as their new environment really quick, and we had a pretty good relationship, I think.
That's pretty cool. One more question before we run out of time, Alan, and that is that you're signed up to be one of the crew members for the Atlantica Expeditions. Do you look forward to spending a lot of time in the water in the dry habitat?
I think that would be wonderful. I've only got to experience little parts of something like that. When I help the mermaids with the show, they have a little airlock, and we can come up in that airlock and stand halfway out of the water. But to be able to come out and to get completely dry, towel off, get a shower and warm up would be incredible. That's nothing I've got to experience, but I really enjoy being under the water, and I think that would be one way just to get to stay for a long time.
Yeah, well, we look forward to having you on the expeditions and in the Leviathan habitat, and we'll give you a nice, dry, warm bed to spend the night in.
Oh, that would be excellent. The great thing, the hardest part about doing what I've done is getting used to sleeping back into bed after being underwater for a week.
I bet. Well, Alan, it's really good to have you here as a guest in the Expeditions podcast, and we hope to see you again in September when we will meet you face-to-face underwater.